So, um, besides the fact that Kuntres Um'ayan is all out, we are also in the beginning of the month of Nisan. Month of Nisan is the first biblical month. It's the month of Yetzias Mitzrayim, of Exodus, is the month of redemption, is the month of miracles. As the name indicates, Nisan comes from the word Nisim, miracles. Right? So miracles happen. They happen every day. Some of them we see, some of them we don't see. And guess what? Being here tonight is a miracle. Uh, miracles are happening all the time. Sometimes we need to open our eyes. Sometimes Hashem makes such great miracles that only He is able to know about them. Doesn't mean that they're not happening. Someone sent me a tweet this afternoon and said that Imar Shabam, the country of Iran, has planned this attack on Israel in the next few hours, etc. And I'm like, and I mean, before that they did not plan an attack. Yeah.
No, apparently.
Before that, they did not want to attack Israel because that Israel killed their general. Now they have to. Before that, they were not. Same thing with all the Arabs in the world and the Palestinians. Because we're killing innocent civilians in Gaza, that's why they hate us. Before that, they did not want to kill us, right? So that's the miracle is that we're still here. No one is waiting for a good reason to hate us and to kill us. It's there. It's out there the whole time. And that's the miracle is that we're here and they're not going to be here soon. And all of those who tried are not here. And we're still around. So maybe we should quit and stop giving too much attention to the headlines and pay attention more to the nisim, the miracles that are happening around us. And be grateful and thank Hashem and say l'chaim and be happy and be positive and be excited and be also chazak ve'emat, be strong. Like, what's the best response to a threat? What's the best form of response to a threat? Attack. What's the best attack for a Jew? Be bold. Be super Jewish.
Just exist.
Yeah, but like exist. You know what exist means? To be outside. Comes from the word exit, exterior. To be in the exterior, exist. Can be inside. Be outside. That's being bold. Okay? So that is our duty, that is our obligation. And big shout out to all the young boys who go regularly, week after week on Miftzayim. This is the strongest army. Strongest army when young boys with a hat and jacket go in the streets, in the trains, and put on the film with people and ask her, this is who we are. You like it or not? We are here to stay. So l'chaim v'ivracha. I'm happy to share also, Baruch Hashem, good news that Noach Moshe Michael ben Rivka, who we said l'chaim last week for his surgery, went through the surgery happened, came back home, recovering from the surgery. Still a long road to full, complete healing, but the miracles happen all the time. And we believe in miracles, and we're going to see more miracles. Stay tuned.
But
Tismoch on this, but the miracles it's a fact. You can't rely on the miracle. That's why you need to show up. That's why you need to exist. That's what you need to do. But Hashem is doing it, regardless. Esther Hamalka didn't count on miracles. She prayed, she fasted, she tried, she negotiated, but the miracle happened. The miracle happened. So we jumped from the month of Adar, which was already a month of miracles for us, into the month of Nisan, even more miracles. Do you know that this specific encounter between Esther and Mordechai, interaction between Esther and Mordechai to begging her to go to Achashverosh, and her refusing, and the back and forth, the negotiation until she said, I'm going to fast for 3 days, do the same. And it says that Vaya'avor Mordechai passed, which means he transgressed. The Gemara says it was on Pesach. The feast that she had with Achashverosh and Haman was on the first day of Pesach. And Mordechai declared a national Jewish fast day for all of the Jewish people in Shushan, even though they're supposed to celebrate Pesach. So he transgressed the obligation of keeping Pesach, of eating matzah that night, because he said, now we need to fast if we want to be able to celebrate Pesach next year and the generations to come. But it all happened on Pesach. Yeah. So Pesach, Nisan is really the month of real redemption for Jewish people. And do you remember, by the way, right before the last of the 10 Makot, the 10 plagues in Mitzrayim, when Moshe Rabbeinu came to, and Aaron came to us like, let my people go. What did Paro say? He said, I don't want to see you anymore. Next time I see you, you're dead. Guess what happened after? The bigger the threat is, the more the sign of the end it is. It's very simple. When they bark too much, when they bark too much, they make too much noise, you know we're getting close to the end. That's it.
It's like the muscle out there in Tanya. Right when a person's losing.
Yeah. Why is the Yetzer Hara kicking when you're in the middle of davening? It's like, I'm about to lose. Wherever I can kick now and punch, I have to find my way out. So that's the game. All right, we're back to Kuntres Um'ayan, chapter 18, Mamar Yud Ches, chapter 2, page 267 in the English book, and we have a special sechus, special merit today. We're studying Kuntres Um'ayan, authored by Rabbi Shalom Dover of Lubavitch. I'm sure Yossi will do a very nice fading in photo of the Rebbe Rashab into the screen to show us the Rebbe Rashab, and then another one of Kuntres Um'ayan coming to the screen, because today was the Hilula of none other than Rabbi Shalom Dover, the author of the Rebbe Rashab, and he was buried in Rostov. And we study his Torah on the day of his Hilula. It's a big, big zechut. So, today we're going to address the following. How does water arrive into your bath, into your kitchen?
From the pipe.
Yeah, what? Turn it on from the pipe. Pressure. What does the pressure do?
What does the pressure do? Circulate. Make it.
Yes, true. Gives it a movement. But water has movement naturally, by the way, without pressure. Ma'im yordim mimakom gavoa lemakom namuch. Water flow. That's the nature of water. By the way, how do you say water in Hebrew? Ma'im. What is that water? What is that? How do you translate ma'im to English? Waters.
Plural.
Why? Because you cannot get one fraction, one unit of water. Right? Ma'im. It's plenty. Right? And you're going to split a drop, and you're going to have what? A drop. A smaller drop, but it's made out of... So because water flows. Okay? When you pressure the water, you give it more flow, more movement, more direction. All right? So waters in general refer to what if we interpret in a more esoteric meaning. What is water? We have Ta'avat ha'tanugim miyesod ha'mayim she'hamayim matzmichim kol minei ta'anug. Water is the source of all pleasure. Water refers to chesed. Right? So water is chesed, kindness. How do you get the water from the fountain, from the source, from the spring, from the river, or not from the ocean, because unfortunately we cannot drink the water from the ocean. But how do you get the water to your cup? How do you get the ma'im, which is the chesed, the kindness, to actually come into a vessel and be useful and be helpful? You need to put it through a pipe and apply pressure on it. This is where Gevura comes in. Without gevura, without discipline, without structure, the chesed doesn't move anywhere. Does not accomplish anything. Right? I think there is a saying in the Gemara, I'm not sure where exactly, water can be the softest thing, but when pressure is applied, it can slice through and cut through anything. What do you see pressure on water naturally? When I say pressure, I mean gvura, might that is applied. More than waterfall, guess what? Rain. Because rain is tiny drops. To get tiny drops, there must be some form of force that is splitting the water from its source. Like the fact that the water falls in small drops means there's a force that is dividing it. And that's what enables water to be productive and to go to the right place and penetrate the earth, and then things can grow. I think Eov said that Hashem knows how not to touch 2 drops of water, otherwise it can destroy the world or something like that. Eov mentions a pasuk, I forget where it's from. Why? Because then the force is multiplied and then it becomes heavier and it can destroy. So Hashem has the way Hashem sends the rain, it's already with a divider. That's a sense of a form of gevura. That's why when we say Ata Gibor Olam Hashem Chayim Metim Ata Rav Leoshia, what do we say right after? Ata Gibor, you are mightyful. Mashiva Ruach Morid HaGeshem. That's why the first Mishnah of Masechet Ta'anit starts Me'ematai, from when? Mazkirin, do we start praying for Gevurot Geshamim, the mighty rains, because the rain is a manifestation of the Gevurah of Hashem. So back to our discussion, we want to understand 3 sayings of Chachamenu Zichronam Livra, of the sages. One is Adam, a person, everything is decided on Rosh Hashanah for what a person is going to receive. The other one is Adam Nidon Bechol Yom. It's a contradiction. And further than that, we had this famous Rabbi Yeva in the Zohar that says, before he prepared his own food that he already owned, he would say, Hashem, give me my food for today. Really, what this boils down to, and this is what we're going to learn now, is that even though on Rosh Hashanah, which is the Binyan HaMalchut means that the Malchut needs to go back to the source in Keter Malchut, in the crown of Malchut. Even though Malchut is the lowest Sephira, it needs to go back to the source. In the crown itself, what's the crown about? The crown is the inner desire and pleasure that the source, the king, the master has. That's what drives him to desire, to want, to do, and to give, and to allow, and to enable existence. That's what we explained last week and 2 weeks ago. Olam Chesed Yibaneh, the world was founded on Chesed, because the idea that God considered other existence outside of Him, kind of sort of say, that's a kindness. It's an act of giving. Okay? But on Rosh Hashanah, everything goes back to the source, and in order for the Keter Malchut to reveal itself and express itself, and go down and reach all the way down to our pocket, to your body, to your health, for you and your family for the rest of the year. It's so abstract. So that way we asked the question the previous weeks. How come the moment of Ne'ilah, which is such a big Eizrat and such an auspicious time, how come this is the time of revelation of the Gevurot, the 5 Gevurot, the 5 severities? Here's the answer. Because in order to make sure that this can come down into something tangible, something practical, something useful, you need the structure. You need the severity. Inside. והנה, שורש המשכה שנמשך בספירת המלכות מכתר מלכות בראש השנה. The root of the flow that comes from Keter Malchut into the Sephira of Malchut on Rosh Hashanah. שהוא האור והחיות מבחינת חסד העתיק שנמשך בבחינת מלכות. Like we said, this is the kindness of Hashem that is going to be circulating and coming all the way from the source to the bottom through What enables the movement is Malchut, like we said the week before, Malchutcha, Malchut Kol Olamim. הרי הוא בבחינת אור כללי. It's a very general, very global light. It basically means I am interested to give. It's like you're a salesman and you pitch your potential client in like, do you have a minute? This is what it is. You give your pitch. We sell this. We buy at this price. We sell at this price. We have an opportunity. This is our inventory. Are you interested? And you don't know. And you're like, take my phone number. I want to sit down with you. That's huge. If that guy wants to be your partner, you know your business is going. But it didn't happen yet. Then you need to sit down and you need to look at the details and work it out, etc. etc. On Rosh Hashanah, Hashem agrees. You know what? I'm in. I'm into the deal. I'm investing. How much do you need? You're raising capital. How much do you need? I'm in. Now, till the money hits the bank account, it's going to take time. You're in contract, and they're closed, and the lawyers, and here and there, and then sometimes it doesn't work, and then it takes time. So the Or Klali, the light that is being revealed on Rosh Hashanah is a very global one. V'lo nitchalek lipratim klal. It's not divided at all to details. ואי אפשר שיתקבל אל המקבלים. It cannot be received as it is. ובכדי שיתקבל האור במקבלים, in order for it to be received by all the recipients, זהו על ידי בחינת הגבורות דעתיק. We need to implement, to bring in the structure, the lawyer, the attorney. We need to bring in the notary. In France, the notary is the one that supervises all the clause on the agreement, on the contract. And you need to structure and divide and fragment the energy in order to be able to bring it to where you need. And I was thinking, besides the example of water, another example of energy being divided in order for it to arrive, to achieve its goal, in order to have the result, is electricity. Electricity also has a very, very powerful source, but in order for it to get to the light bulb, it comes through a form of pipe. It's called wires. And those wires are the ones who limit the current, who limit the energy. But guess what? They're the ones who give you the power. So you need the gvura in order to make sense of chesed. You need the structure, the severity, the discipline. Let's continue inside. שעל ידי זה, שהם המחלקים את החסד לחלקים, they divide the kindness into pieces, into parts, fractions, שעל ידי זה יתקיים עיקר אמיתת החסד. The true kindness is going to be applied, right? The kindness is not to give your credit card to your child. Your kindness is not to always say yes. Your kindness is to bring your receiver to the place he needs to get. And that requires a lot of gevurah as well. Your motive, your motivation, your manifestation is kindness. But the formula to apply it is done through discipline and severity. And we can elaborate on that a lot. שעל ידי זה יתקיים עיקר אמיתת החסד, שעל ידי זה יוכלו הנבראים לקבל את החסד. This way, the creatures will be able to receive the kindness of Hashem. Kindness of Hashem is the divine energy that allows us to exist. We need it, but in order for us to receive it, we need to fragment it. And here he gives the example of the rain. וכעניין גבורות גשמים, just like the power of the rain, the mighty rain, שיורדים בגבורה. Rain by default falls with might. שמתחלקים טיפין טיפין. Because what is rain? It's water, but doesn't fall as a flow. It falls drops after drops. It's being fragmented and divided. וזהו תכלית ואמיתית החסד. This is the true and ultimate kindness. שעל ידי זה דווקא והרבה את הארץ והולידה והצמיחה. This is how the water can come forth into the earth and sprout and grow produce. And just like it is with rain on the earth, same thing with a person. A person has an inner will, inner desire, inner idea that he wishes to express. That's an act of kindness, chesed. You're revealing, expressing out. How do you do that? First thing, from your thought, you're going to have to cross the border of thought, of machshava, and enter the world of what comes after machshava. You have an idea in your mind, and you want to bring it out. Dibur. You have to speak about it. How do you speak? What is speech? Speech is sound. Sound and shapes. Sound is the expression. Sound is the vibration. And it's the expression. But what makes sense of what you're saying is the shape of the words you're saying. And that's the letters that you're using, the combination of letters that you're using. So same thing. Same thing it is in a person's soul. The voice, the sound that comes out from the ear, from the heart of the person, is a simple sound. Kol pashut. The sound comes through the throat, it's a tube, and there's a sound, there's an echo. What is going to make this a sound that has a sense, a meaning, is the words. Umitchalek leotiyot. It's going to be divided into letters. Behe motzaot apeh. In the 5 categories of letters. Aleph, chet, he, ayin. Aleph, chet, he, ayin. Mehagaron comes from the throat. You try this at home. Gimel, yud, chaf, kuf, meachech, from the palate, etc. Then there is the other categories, which each one is divided into 5. Vehainu al yedei he gevuros. These are the 5 forms of severities of gevuros. And they are called in Kabbalah menatzpach. What's menatzpach? Mem nun tzadik peichaf. Mem nun tzadik peichaf are the 5 letters that are doubled. Mem has mem sofit, nun has nun sofit, tzadik has tzadik sofit, fei has fei sofit, and chaf has chaf sofit. The fact that they're doubled, meaning that they bounce. Bouncing comes from a resistance. So they are the source of any gvura. The sound goes out purely, plain, and the obstacle creates the bouncing. So we speak because there is sound and structure. So what really allows me to express what I have in my mind is not only the sound that I'm able to perform with my voice, but it's also the capacity of shaping this sound into words and meaning. And this is the Hegvot. Here we have another example. It says in the Zohar, in the introduction to the Zohar, famous pasuk that David HaMelech says, Kos Yeshuot Esa uveshem Hashem Ekra. I'm going to raise the glass of Yeshuot, of redemption. Raise your glass of redemption. Nechaim. Right? Yes. What does that mean? Says the Zohar like this. Kos shel bracha. Anytime. Who said Kos Yeshuot Esa uveshem Hashem Ekra? David HaMelech. We have it in the Hallel. When it says, Ma'ashiv Lashem kol tagmulo yalai. How can I return all the kindness that Hashem has done to me? You know what he says? You know how you return kindness? Kos Yeshuot Esa. Raise your glass. What do you need to do when you raise your glass? Most people take a glass with a leg. When you hold the leg with your 2 fingers. That's when you drink good wine. But when you do Kos Shel Bracha, you're supposed to use your 5 fingers. Here it says, it needs to be put on 5 fingers. You'll see how the Rebbe is so careful with this. You see the Rebbe taking the cup of Kiddush, picking up from the right hand, passing it to the left hand, and then putting it down into the palm of the hand, with the 4 fingers, and the thumb to the side. To be careful that we have the 5 fingers surrounding the kois shel bracha. So kois Yeshuos Esa, says the Zohar, kois Yeshuos Esa, itztarich, kosher bracha itztich lemer al chamesh etzba'im. The glass that we use to bench Hashem, to bless Hashem, for Birkat Hamazon, or any bracha, needs to lay down on 5 fingers. Why? And the Zohar says, they are the five severities, the 5 gevurot. So again, how do I return to Hashem the kindness? You need to establish structure and discipline. And that's when the kos, your vessel, is actually a vessel of redemption. Salvation, that was the word I was looking for. Salvation, not redemption, salvation. Yeah, le salut. Yeshua is the salute, the salvation of Hashem. So that what the gvura is what's going to, the 5 fingers is what's going to make the kos shel bracha a kos of Yeshua, of salvation. And these 5 measures are called Yeshuot, salvations. Look over there in the introduction of the Zohar, in the Pirush of the Ramaz, Rabbi Moshe Zakut, right? A prominent leading Kabbalistic author. These are the 5 gvurot who come from the Yesod of Atik, which basically the ability to divide, to separate, comes from a higher source than the source of giving. It's very tricky. The source of everything is kindness, because kindness is the beginning of the giving act. So in order to create, Hashem olam chesed yibadeh. But in order for Hashem to give, what preceded that giving? Gvura again. Why? Because where are you going to start from? Hashem is completely infinite, has no shape, no form whatsoever, no possible consideration for any form of existence whatsoever. And in order for to shift, to move, to switch from zero possibility of existence to something, forget about creating it. I'm talking about consideration of it. That requires a certain discipline. To push, you need a certain focus. And to make this idea, abstract idea, a little more practical. Most of the time, when people want to be successful, what do? They have a to-do list. And they try to accomplish, they fulfill a task list, right? And they aim to fulfill the task list. So I know someone smart once said, what really helps a person be successful is not the to-do list. It's the not to-do list. I mentioned this many times in the past. What separates between where you are and your success, a lot of times is not what to do. You know what you need to do. Is what not to do. Quit on a lot of things that create interruptions and distractions. So, imagine for Hashem, who is completely infinite, to decide, guess what? A world, a universe, a human being, creation, angels even, sephiros, a form. So, even though that's an act of kindness, in order to have you need Yesod, the Atik. The Yesod is the ability to create a foundation. What the foundation is something that's going to penetrate very deep into something and break through, anchor it. So, prior to the kindness, technically, there is a form of Gvura. So, the Chamisha Gvurot come from Yesod the Atik. But they enable the chesed. Further down into the world, Gevurah is going to appear again. Because to take that chesed and make it accessible, you need discipline again. Let's continue. This is the reason why the 5 severities, the 5 Gevurahs, are called the 5 fingers. Why fingers? Did you ever think of that? Why fingers? And the explanation, we mentioned this in the past, a few weeks ago, but here we're seeing this in the text this time. The Kmo al derech mashal. Hayad. See? Right when you come. Hayad. Shgacha pratis. Yeah. Always. היד, מאמר י"ח פרק ב'. הנה קודם התחלקות עלי האצבעות. This is one of my favorite examples, guys. Tune in. הרי הכוח הכלול בה ביחד בלי התחלקות, וכשמתחלקת ל5 אצבעות, מתחלק כוח ההוא שיהיה לכל אצבע כוח פרטי מצומצם לפני עצמו. זו זרד וזו קמיצה וכולו, וכדאיתה בגמרא, בכל חדה וחדה למילתא אבידיתא, והתחלקות זו היא בבחינת גבורות. Raise your hand. What do you see? A hand. We said before that the hand is the act of yad amechaleket tzedakah, yad anotenet, the hand that gives. Hand is the idea of kindness, because the hand is attached to the shoulder. Shoulder is at the same level of the heart, right? So really, from the heart, it needs to come to an action, right? We do netilat yadayim, wash the hands, but it needs to come bekoach adam, from a human movement, right? You cannot use something else. Why? Because what does the movement come from? It's the expression of some of the energy of emotions of the heart that comes into the giving. And then when you do birkat netilat yadayim, the bracha, you raise your hands to the heart. Sehu yedechem kodesh. You bring it back, the action, to the emotion. So the hands really are the expression of the emotions. That's a kindness. However, imagine that the hand was only a palm, right? Till here. Which is the case by all creatures besides the human beings. All animals have palms. They don't have hands. Monkeys. We're going to talk about monkeys soon. Very good. Before we talk about the monkeys, all animals have two pair of feet. They don't have hands, right? Even monkeys. It's not considered hands like we know, but it is, because the Torah says that the kochot aklipa, the energy of evil and impurity, the tumah, tries to align itself and compare itself to kedusha. Like Hashem says, Ze leumat ze asa Elokim. Hashem created good and evil, good and bad, in parallel. So just like there's a human being, there's an animal that looks like a human being. So the Torah says, the klipa compares itself to kedusha, kekof bifnei ha'adam, like the monkey that is similar to a human being, but really there's nothing in common. There's nothing, not nothing in common. There's a lot in common. There's nothing comparable. It's not the same. You can't say that a monkey is a subcategory of human beings, or that human beings are an upgrade version of a monkey, even though many people believe that, right? The evolution, but it's not. So far, we haven't seen any progress we haven't seen any progress by the monkeys in their capacity to create more refinement through their hands and fingers than peeling bananas and climbing. None of them graduated. None of them passed the test. We gave them a pen. We told them, write a letter to your friend. We gave them a phone. Try to play Angry Birds. They got angry, but they couldn't get the birds. Right? So the hands in the monkey don't accomplish even a fraction of what human hands can accomplish. So what is it about the hand? So let's look at it again. Yad, the hand naturally is referred to, is a manifestation of kindness. What makes it possible for your hands to fulfill your kindness at the end of the day? Take a bird's view of the city and look around and see all the amazing accomplishments the human being have. How was it made? It was accomplished because we have fingers. All the cranes, pipes, electricity, hardware, software, computers, anything that we do, our design and everything, is because we have fingers. Now, what are the fingers? The fingers are tools, right? The Gemara in Ktubot, page 5, A says how the world was created with Hashem's hand. All the spiritual worlds were created with the right hand of Hashem, and all this physical world was created with the left hand of Hashem. More divine energy revealed in the spiritual world, less divine energy, yaminu small. Nata yaminu bara shamayim, nata smalo bara haaretz. And then it says that Am Yisrael was created with both hands. How do we know? Because Ad Yavor Amcha Hashem, Ad Yavor Amzu Kanita, and it says Mikdash Hashem Konenu Yadecha. Hashem established the temple for the Jewish people. Konenu Yadecha, your hands, plural. So the world was created with one hand, and the Mikdash was created with two hands. So it means that we have the full divine power, which is a total of 10 Sefirot, applied into the Kedusha, into the Mikdash, into the sanctuary. But the Gemara discusses, what does it mean that Hashem created the world with one hand and the Mikdash with two hands? What does the hand mean? It says a hand has 5 fingers, and each of the five, just like in a man's body, each finger has its own utility. Why are the fingers different? Different size, different location, or the way they are placed. People can explain to you each finger can do something that the other one cannot accomplish, and the amount of how do you call the phalanges that you can, the way you can manipulate and move around your fingers, and the size of the fingers and how they're aligned next to each other is what gives the infinite capability to a human being to create more and more and more and more and more and more. So dividing, see the fact that I can hold this bottle and open it and all the things we can do is because of the fingers. See how my thumb is holding on to the
thumb.
It's everything. Right now it's the thumb, but the thumb with the if you have a thumb, you know what? If you're born with a thumb, what can you do? Nothing. You're gonna do I like that. Yeah. What does that mean? Here's the thing. The hand itself is kindness. It got to a point where Hashem said, I have nothing to do with this kindness. It's not going to lead to no result. I must take this palm, I must take this hand, and take this big chopper from the butchers, and just cut apart, and slice this palm, and create fingers. Hashem divided from a full flat palm of kindness. Hashem cut, separated, divided, applied pressure, structure, discipline. And this is how the fingers were created. So the Kos Yeshuot is how do you bring the salvation? It's from the 5 fingers, because the 5 fingers actually are an expression of Gevurah. But the expression of Gevurah in the kindness is what makes sense of and reveals the true kindness. Chamisha Gevurot elu hen amitit achesed. Why? שהרי היד, אם לא היה בחילוק האצבעות, the hand, if it did not have the separation of the fingers the way we have them now, לא היה יכול לעשות במלאכה ופעולה. It would have not been able to perform any act, any work. ולא לכתוב, not even write. שכל פעולות אלו, that all of these actions, all of the work that a human being can do, that only a human being can do, is done thanks to נעשות דווקא על ידי האצבעות, is done through the fingers. נמצא, comes out, שהגם שהיד עצמה היא כללות הכוח, even though the hand itself is the global, the general energy of the kindness and giving, which is the expression of everything. That's why when we put on tefillin on the hand, it has to be keneged alev, but at the same time we wrap it on the entire arm, come to the hand, until the finger, the longest finger, because we want to make sure that the expression gets all the way to the furthest part, in order to achieve and touch the lowest parts. מכל מקום, אם לא על ידי 5 גבורות בחילוק האצבעות, if not through the 5 severities of the separation of the hand into fingers, לא יכול להיות פעולה והשפעה מהכוח שביד, the hand would have not been able to give and achieve. ואם כן, comes out, הרי 5 גבורות אלו הן שלמות פעולת החסד, וכעניין גבורות גשמים. This is the ultimate act of kindness, is when you apply the 5 gevuros into the kindness. This is why the rain is called gvorot gshamim, even though rain is considered to be a blessing, gishmei bracha. When rain falls, it's a bracha. But when rain falls, it is by default divided into small fractions in order to be able to reach its final destination. וזהו עניין מה שנקראו גבורות הנ"ל בשם ישועות. That is the reason, the very reason why it's called Yeshua salvation. וזהו גם כן שכוס של ברכה צריך להיות על 5 אצבעים דווקא. That's why it needs to be, the כוס של ברכה again is repeating on the 5 fingers. וכל שכן מבחינת עתיק של 5 גבורות, לשם הן ודאי כלולות ומיוחדות ב5 חסדים, והלץ מעלה בהיתיקה, ולכן מהן מיתו כל הגבורות שלמטה. We're going to discuss this more at length next week, which will be probably our last class before Pesach. But I want to take one fraction. I want to apply some gevura into the kindness of the delivery of the shiur of tonight, and maybe that will reveal the ultimate kindness, that there is something we can take home. If we had to illustrate this scenario of applying gevura into the chesed, applying structure and separation into the kindness, how would that look like? So imagine that you see the divine energy. There's the act of giving, the chesed, so there's the waters coming, and then there's someone who's putting this obstacle, this dam, to hold the water in order to later put it through the pipes and get it to where it needs to get. At the moment you start to stop the water from its natural flow in order to give it more pressure and put it in the right place, what happens to the water? Does the water stop? When the water sees a stop sign, what does the water do? Keeps on putting more pressure, right? So there's going to be, if you can pause and break apart this image of the interaction, the confrontation between the kindness and the gevura, there's going to be a moment of intense confrontation. Before, it's a process. Before you are able to see the result of the kindness that the gevura brought to you, there's going to be a moment where you're going to see an explosion. Something is going to shatter. It's going to hurt. Right? There's going to be a bang. So the moment you have to take the flat palm of the hand, which is pure kindness, and have to cut it into fingers, that's going to be shocking. That's going to be disturbing. That moment, when we experience this internally, it's a moment of darkness. It's a moment of suffering. The moment the olive is in the presser and you're about to get the oil out, right? You don't have the olive anymore because the olive is trapped, stuck into the presser, but you don't have the oil yet. What do you have? An olive in prison. You have an olive that has no utility whatsoever. Like that moment is a terrible moment, but you have to go through that process in order to reach the step of post-pressure, which is going to pressure completely the olive and make it completely different. The hand will no longer be the same before and after the 5 fingers. Guess what? The people are born without fingers. Look what happened. They can't use the hand. But the moment, the olive will no longer be the way it was. But now you extracted the essence. You have the oil. That's the true kindness. So when we experience obstacles, there's two ways to look at it. Things are going wrong, or tremendous kindness is about to happen and it needs to hit in order to get to create that new energy, in order to bounce. Just like the words that you're able to express from your vocal cords, because you're not simply making sounds like a newborn baby who's doing ba ba ba, but you're using your mind to bring down structure and form and shape into your expression, and that you're putting words into your expressions, to your feelings, and you're able to communicate. So I just want to say that everybody should only know of goodness and kindness, revealed kindness, but when sometimes things don't go the way we expect, there's some tremendous kindness about to arrive, about to come, about to be revealed. And by becoming aware of that, you enable it. If you're resisting this confrontation, you're pushing it up. By identifying and recognizing it, this is the concept we're going to learn next week, Bezrat Hashem, is that this is how you sweeten, you elevate the severities and reveal the true kindness. So L'chaim, may we only know of true kindness in all aspects. Chaim.